Hi, and thanks for checking out this video on Adobe InDesign CC, which I've been using since it first came out a long time ago. I'm a qualified teacher, I'm an Adobe ACI, I've got 5 books in print, I've got the ACE qualification in these 3 programs, and this is my own company, tunnelvisionltd.co.uk. If you go to that website, you'll find links to the full course on Udemy and Skillshare, and lots of other stuff, and I hope you like it. And if you do, please sign up. Now I'm going to show you the pen tool. I kind of dread doing this because everyone hates the pen tool. I don't. I shouldn't say everyone. I love it. Using the pen tool was very helpful to me because I came to computers because I love drawing and painting. And actually I wanted to be able to draw and paint without having to clean up my brushes. So generally programs on computers are not that great if you want to really do sort of drawing and painting. There are one or two. But the pen tool seemed to be pretty close in some ways. So I practiced a lot with it. Really a lot. And as a result, I was able to take on work and produce it in such a way that none of my contemporaries could do because they hated the pen tool. So it's really worth it. Now, one problem with the pen tool is if I look at the flyout here, there's all these tools on the flyout. The good news is you don't need the flyout and you don't need these shortcuts. Now the pen tool lives in Photoshop and Illustrator as well. And the shortcuts are different in each program. That's one source of confusion right there. Now I know, and I'm going to show you now, a set of shortcuts that works in all 3. So that should help, shouldn't it? And I'm just going to start with the pen tool. The shortcut for the pen tool, if you want, is just the letter P. I'm going to draw a line with no fill. It's black line. I'm going to make it a bit bigger so you can see it more easily. 2 points, and it's a solid line. I recommend if you want to get good with the pen tool, you just practice with it a bit. And we're not going to do just random practice. There's a few things you can do to help yourself develop with a pen tool. Don't do them until you get frustrated. Just do them for a few minutes when you have time, and pretty soon you'll find that you're getting really good with a pen tool because you're used to it. So, here we go. So I'm just going to click, and that puts down an anchor point, which is going to be the end of a line segment. If I click over here, there's a straight line. I'm just going to go up and click, and then across and click, down and click, and across and click. So I'm drawing straight line segments. There's nothing to it. Quite often, I'll draw a more complicated shape in straight line segments, and I'll come back and put the curves in afterwards, because it's tricky doing them at the time. Anyway, this, as you can see, follows me around continuously, so if I want to stop that, I don't want it to follow me around anymore. If I hold down the Control or the Command key, the pen turns into the Direct Selection tool. And if I click in white space, I just let go of that line, which means I can now draw something else. Now the next line, I'm going to introduce a curve. So I'm going to click to begin with, move across and click, straight line. Come up here, but I've moved to the right because I'm going to click and drag to the right. And these are Bezier handles. This is what's called a Bezier curve. You cannot move the handles with the pen tool. And you never click where the line already exists. So the line's already here. I'm not going to click here. I'm going to come down here. The left-hand handle is what's produced this curve. The right-hand handle is all ready to produce another curve depending on where I click, like that. Then I'll come over here, hold down the Control or Command key, click in white space, and I've now let go of that one as well. The third one, I'm going to click and start it off. There we go, there's a straight line. Now I'm going to click and drag again. But how about if I want this side to be curved, but I want this side to be straight? So I'm going to toggle into what's called the Convert Direction Point tool, which looks like an upturned V by holding down the Alt key. And if I click there, it removes the handle from the right-hand side. Now I'll let go of the Alt key, which means the next part of the line is going to be straight, like that. Then I'll hold down Command or Control, click in white space, and I'm done. So it's that easy to draw stuff. Now how about if you want to edit it afterwards? I'm going to Command or Control click on this one again just to wake it up. Now it's awake. Now if I hover over part of the line where there's no anchor point, you see that little plus sign? Yeah? If I click while the plus sign's showing, I just got a new anchor point. And I could hold down the Command or the Control key and move it. In fact, you can move anchor points just by holding down Command or Control even while you're still drawing and edit the path. If I hover over an existing anchor point, you'll see a little minus sign. See that? Now if I click while the minus sign's showing, that anchor point is history. If I hold down the Alt key and click and drag on an anchor point, I pull handles out of it, creating a curve. If I'm working with a curve by holding down the Command or Control key, I can move the handles, but I can't move them individually. They insist on acting like a kind of a seesaw going through that line. Handles can be different lengths, but they can't move independently of each other. However, if I hold down the Alt key, they can. Now if you can delete anchor points and add anchor points and change straight lines to curves, and look, I'm going to change curves to straight lines by Alt-clicking on that, you can create any shape you want. All you need is time and patience. Unfortunately, you can't buy either of those. Now the more you're familiar with a pen tool, the less time it's going to take you, so that can take care of the time issue. And so long as you don't allow yourself to get frustrated with it and you stop and do something else before that happens, you'll have enough patience to do the work. I really recommend you get used to this tool. It's great. It's a really, really good tool. I decided to tag a few examples of things I've done with a pen tool, mostly years ago, but in hopes that they would maybe be some kind of inspiration to you. So this is a book cover that I did. This is entirely done with a pen tool and a little bit of type. This is an ad I did for a winery in North California. I spent a lot of time on their logo because I knew they'd really check that out. That got me a lot of work. This is an ad I did for an auction. I put the auction catalog together, so I got a full-page ad. I got a huge amount of work from that, and that's all pen tool, either working with a pen tool in Illustrator or actually sitting out in the garden with a pen drawing foliage. And this is an illustration for a book about traveling in Ireland. And there's no reason why you couldn't do stuff like this too. All it takes, as I said, is time and patience. And if you've put in the practice, hey, you got it. So thanks again for stopping by, and I hope that video was really helpful to you. And please do check out my website, www.tunnelvisionltd.co.uk, and let me know what you thought. Bye for now.